Today on the MrMaple Show podcast, Matt and Tim discuss landscaping your garden with Japanese maples. Collector's Corner edition.
Konnichiwa, y'all, and welcome back to another Mr. Maple podcast. We are the brothers of Mr. Maple, Matt and Tim. We love talking about Japanese maples. And guys, we've done a lot of these podcasts, so if you want to learn more about Japanese maples, it's a great place to catch information. Today we're going to be talking about some of our favorite things for different locations in the landscape. So we're doing a collector's corner a little differently here, a little spot determinant collector's corner.
Yeah, landscaping your garden with Japanese Maples Collector's Corner edition. Basically, we're going to talk about some spots, and Matt and I are going to talk about our choice for those spots. And so a little bit different. I think it's kind of interesting. It's more landscaping, garden-based, landscaping your garden with Japanese maples. So, I mean, I think it's sort of a fun way to approach a collector's corner. I mean, we always look for different topics for each of the things for Matt and I to discuss. And now we've got, a spot to plant Japanese maples, and we can choose whatever Japanese maples we want. This is going to be a fun one.
Now, guys, if you're new here, we do MrMaple.com as our main business. We ship mail order Japanese maples all over the United States. We had new trees every Tuesday and Thursday, so make sure to check out MrMaple.com. Really appreciate that.
All right, so let's start out with the spot where everyone gardens with the Japanese maple. If you walk out someone's front door, and on the right or the left, there's typically a Japanese maple in a lot of gardens all across the United States. That's a very common place for someone to plant a Japanese maple. Matt, what's your picks?
So I went with right and left. You went with one tree, because I already compared your list, but I went with a red panda on the right and a mayday on the left.
Oh, snap.
I thought I'd switch it up. I thought we were going with two trees, so I thought we had a right and a left here.
It said right or left.
Yeah, well, I went both. I ignored the or. I did see the or, and I sailed right through it into two maples. Because why would I plant one maple when I could plant two maples? Clearly making my answer more correct. Now, I love red panda. I think it's one of those focal point plantings. I love it. It's nice in that kind of close up spot where I interact with it. I picked two Makawa types because they're low growing, so it's not going to grow the doorstep area. Something you can really enjoy, but the two contrast each other. That could also be talked into going red panda on either side.
Red panda and mayday. Those are good contrasts, though, because the red panda gives you that red color in the spring. The mayday may give you a little bit of peach, but it's mostly going to be that sort of blondish color throughout most of the year. And, I mean, it contrasts so well with the red panda. Both have that tightly layering Makawa-like structure. Those are definitely some cool dwarfs that fit in that space, and they're different than your traditional red lace leaf that many people would put in that location.
Sounds good. What'd you go with for steps right outside your front door, right or left?
Well, if we're doing two, I'm just going to go with two Dragon Masters.
Nice.
You got two yellows on both sides. You can put one out there if you want, but if you want sort of evened out on both sides, Dragon Master, sort of the entranceway to your home, would be pretty cool. With their strongly weeping habit, their cascading just structures are just so beautiful. Stake them up a little bit, let them cascade in that fountain-like effect. And Dragon Master is going to have that yellow color that'll contrast with a dark-colored house. But if you have a light-colored house, the yellow will show up as well. And so that's the biggest problem people do is they put a red lace leaf in that spot and they've got a dark-colored house and the lace leaf sort of gets lost. And, we always say put a green there, but if you put a yellow there, man, it's just going to shine and sort of just draw your eyes right there to the entranceway to your home.
See, I was going to give myself all the points, but you went with a tree that I helped name. So I'm going to say definitely point to you, but then since I had two answers, 2 points to me. So it's 1 point and 2 points. I love it there. No, I love Dragon Master for that reason.
You always try to score these things.
I do. It's competitive, man. Mine are all competitive.
If you are the judge in scoring, you're always going to win.
Well, I actually grade all of our podcasts, and you don't even want to know. I'm like, there was season 1, season 2. Like it's like the it's like when I review them at the end of the day, it's like the Washington Generals.
versus the Harlem Globetrotters.
Yeah, man, I play a little.
They might have won once, but
I play a little Sweet Georgia Brown while I'm scoring them.
guys, the next spot we're landscaping is underneath your window. You know, often in a landscape, when you're landscaping underneath your window, you're looking for something low growing. You're looking for something that's not going to block your views of your garden or looking outside your window. And, you know, there's typically, 3-4 feet of space. Not a whole lot of space in comparison to, other spots in your yard. So you're always looking for something shorter in that location.
Yeah, so we kind of went with the under the window category here. So there are things that you can kind of have in that kitchen window. You think of sitting, in kind of like your cabinet area or an area where you want to sit onto like a little, kind of interior deck window type deal. Maybe a recessed kitchen table. So you kind of have that luxury of feeling like you're out in the landscape a little bit more. Things that you want to put there that you're not going to obstruct your total vision of the rest of the garden. So a lot of times out of our windows are the best views of our garden. So you have to really be conscious of that and think about what plants you want to put there that don't block the rest of your garden out, but also accentuate that garden look.
I mean, many times in our YouTube videos, we often talk about using some of those toadstool Japanese maples like the Kiyohimes and the Murasaki Kiyohimes. So I didn't want to choose one of those at all.
We use that one a lot.
We use that one a lot. Y'all already know that's something that we would often recommend for those positions. So I went with a low graft Fountain of Youth. You don't stake it up. You just let it crawl across the ground, and you're going to have just this really beautiful Ryusen-like tree, making almost like a ground cover out there that's going to give you some amazing orange fall color. I think the texture is unique in the fact that it has a sort of hand-like leaf to it. But just letting it sort of crawl across the ground will give you a low-growing Japanese maple out there that is different from what everyone else is putting underneath their kitchen window.
Much smaller than your typical lace leaf there too. So it's going to even, unstaked, that one's going to be a ground cover like you're saying. So think of what you can do with Ryusen unstaked. Very similar shape for Fountain of Youth.
And you could choose by putting a stake out there to give it a little bit of height or not, because you know that it's going to have that strongly weeping habit. So you can adjust based on the height of your window how big you want it to be.
I'll say it's a very dynamic pick too, because what I picked was for a good reason as well, because sometimes windows can be reflective. We didn't really talk about whether this window's got a lot of sunlight or a lot of shade. Fountain of Youth, very heat tolerant, so it's a good choice for that as well. I went with Emerald Lace because it puts on more width and height. And I was also kind of thinking about heat tolerance and durability with that window. So I was thinking if you're in a high heat area and you didn't want something that was going to kind of get baked by your window, Emerald Lace is super durable. It wants to be 6 to 7 foot wide sometimes. I mean, it can get even wider than that. But without staking it only wants to be like 3-4 foot tall. So it's a great one for a low grower that's heat tolerant. It's going to be fine in the shade, but it certainly could handle a good bit of sun as well.
Now, your choice of Emerald Lace is a pretty good one too, because it's heat tolerant. And if you have something that's, a window that's going out to sunlight, if you're going out to a very hot position, like maybe our parents' kitchen window, where you've got a brick house, I mean, there's going to be a lot of reflective heat off of that house. And not only does the windows have reflective heat, but the houses themselves espten do, especially if they're made out of rock or brick, as many houses are.
See, I got 3 kids too, so the Emerald Lace will prevent you from sneaking out. There's so much. Emerald Lace is going to be so wide, it's going to cover more surface area of the house.
Now, Emerald Lace too has that really finely dissected leaf like Seryu. It's extremely heat tolerant, resilient. It has a really sophisticated leaf compared to many other lace leaves. It's very refined, very thread-like, and it's vigorous too. So it's going to fill out that spot pretty quickly underneath that window.
Very sophisticated.
Guys, next up, we've got the corner of your house. Now, often around these corners of houses, I'm talking about that foundational planting. Maybe you've got a walkway, not a big, large space, and you're at the corner of your house, and there's a walkway on one side, you've got the house on the other, so you don't have a lot of space there to work with. So you either need something small or you need something columnar. And for me, I've thought columnar. I went with Twombly's Red Sentinel.
He already saw my answer, so he went with a small. You put that caveat in the answer.
Oh, I went with Twombly's Red Sentinel because that cherry red color in the spring gives you some amazing color. It's a flagpole color, fits in those small spaces, gives you bright red fall color as well. I mean, so it's just always just giving you color in a small, narrow space, but it gets that height to it. 6 to 8 foot in 10 years. Really more towards that 8 foot in 10 years. but still staying 2 to 3 feet in width in that same time frame. Twombly's Red Sentinel, it was found as like a witch's broom, and then when they grafted and started evaluating, they realized it stayed tall and narrow, not compact and round like something like Shayna would have done. It actually grew tall and narrow, making it extremely usable in the landscape and good for those small spaces.
It's a great choice. It's durable. It's heat tolerant. It's columnar. It's one of the most columnar Japanese maples of them all. I don't have that much space at my house, so I was a little nervous about that one because my corner is tiny. So
maybe
I
2 foot.
Yeah, it's a little smaller than most. So I don't have a big space between my paved walkway and my rock house. So I don't have a big space there. So I was thinking small right away because I'm limited. So I went with Tattoo. So I got a rock house. Tattoo's an easy plant to get up next to the house without taking up too much space. It's heat tolerant. But it's not gonna be too much problem in the walkway long term. It's not gonna be something I have to cut back. It's not gonna overgrow the walkway space.
Yeah, I mean, for those who aren't familiar with Tattoo, it has that Makawa Yatsubusa-like vibe, that tightly layering habit, a little more serrated edging, slower growing than Makawa Yatsubusa itself. I mean, it truly is a dwarf green Japanese maple that's easy to grow and is super durable. It was named after the guy from Fantasy Island that would say "deplane, deplane."
Don't give it away that I know that, please, because I've gotten I've gotten over 20 YouTube comments. We'll take it down from millions to 20. I've gotten over 20 YouTube comments by continuing to act like
it was Gilligan's Island.
I'll say different things every
Love
single
boat.
time. That little guy that says the plane, he's in.
See, the thing is,
Love Boat's a main one, and that made people just furious. And so I got like a lot of good comments on our channel.
You've said it wrong so many times. I had to pause for a second to remember that it was actually
it was
actually
before
Fantasy
my time.
Island.
I mean, I was born in '81. I never watched that, but yeah, I think it was Gilligan's Island. Though I'm pretty sure you're right.
Anyways. Tattoo, that's a pretty good small growing Japanese maple. One of the slowest growing in that Makawa Yatsubusa family, and definitely fits in those small spaces. So if you've got that corner spot between a walkway and a house, your walkway is sometimes concrete. I mean, residual heat. Again, Tattoo is a pretty good choice.
I just remember him from throwing his hat at James Bond. I remember that guy for that part more. But small, compact, got a more ruffled leaf Makawa, typically only 3 foot and 10 years. So that's why I went with a smaller stature one, but something a little bit more durable there. Like your pick too. All right, so next up, we're going to containers here, guys. So we're looking for our best Japanese maples for container gardening. We've done an entire podcast on this, so we can get deep into this topic. But if you're picking something for containers, you want something that stays relatively small. We talk about how to garden with Japanese maples in a pot. We go over the main things. Obviously you have to have good drainage on your container. We beat that like a dead horse or like a dead maple. If you get a container without a hole in it, if you have if you have a pot without a hole in it, you don't have a pot, you have a bowl, and you should make yourself a bowl of cereal out of that, not put your plant in it. So
totally true. Now for containers, I went with my choice was Rhode Island Red. And that's because once I saw a Rhode Island Red at Ed Chin's house in New Jersey, blue container pot, red Japanese maple, nice rounded habit. I mean, it was just so beautiful. It made me think exactly why people enjoy container gardening with Japanese maples. Rhode Island Red has that leaf like a bloodgood Japanese maple, but it's compact and more dense. And it stays in a smaller space. And as a container tree, it just makes almost this perfectly symmetrical shape with those bloodgood style leaves, but that compact habit that everybody wants in a dwarf red Japanese maple.
It's kind of a perfect tree for a container. It's a great tree for a pot. That shape kind of rounds out to a small ball, so you get that kind of structure going on over top of the container. I love when you can contrast that with the pot color, so you can kind of play with that as well. And again, not a tree that's going to overgrow the size too quickly, so it's a smaller statured plant. I went with red filigree. I was thinking about shadier spots. I was thinking about something that stays small for longer too, so something I can keep in the container for quite a while. I've given these several of these out as gifts to family members who will put them on their patio. You got to remember to water your plant if it's in an area that doesn't get any natural water. Not that any of my family members did that I gave them to, but some had to get replaced. So you got to make sure they get watered if they're in an area that doesn't get rainfall. But because of its ability to hold its color in shade, it makes such a great container plant. You can put it in sun or shade. You want to limit the sun for late summer on anything in the container, but you can really play with this one a good bit. You can have it in a good bit of sun early. You can kind of get it in a setting where it is in heavy, intense shade, and it still holds that deep red. So you can get a lot of contrast going on with this and other things in the container, like sedums or different plants that you want to put in there that make a small ground cover around it, and really get a great deal of a lot of garden for a small area. You can get a lot of garden for your buck with red filigree lace.
Yeah, I mean, red filigree lace has that thin thread-like leaf. It's got the most thread-like leaf of any lace leaf, and it is very beautiful. And the fact that that leaf is so dainty, it's good to bring that up close in the container. It's good to bring that to your patio, your deck, your walkway. It's easier to pull that tree out of the garden because it's a slow-growing tree. I mean, red filigree lace typically in 10 years isn't bigger than 3 feet by 4 feet. I mean, it's a slower growing tree, so it's perfect and ideal for a container in that respect. I mean, and that beautiful leaf is just something you'll want to have up close. And the fact that you could put it on a deck where it's not getting a lot of natural sunlight and it still has that red color, I mean, that makes red filigree lace a winner for a container, especially in a more shaded situation.
Definitely going to be a talking piece on your patio. So if you have an area you're looking to kind of decorate your patio a little bit, red filigree lace might be a great choice for something that's going to be a conversation piece. I think it's going to get a lot of compliments for sure.
So the next spot we're landscaping today is a full sun spot, middle of the yard. We're going to say zone 8 because it's got to be something that's heat tolerant. It's that spot out there that's kind of almost like a focal point planting, but it's not. I mean, it's just out there in the middle of the yard, and it's just going to be taking a beating out there with sun. There's probably sometimes there's a lot of grass around it, and then there's like a small little mulched area.
Right.
Don't put too much mulch around the base of the tree, but a small little mulched area. That's the spot we're gardening with today.
What'd you pick, Tim?
Well, I went with Acer Burdurianum Michael Steinhardt.
See, he cheated because that's what I have in my yard in that spot. So he went ahead and picked the tree
I helped plant it
in my garden in that spot. That's why I was like, what did you pick, Tim? Because I literally have that in that spot.
Well, I'm one of the people who helped pick that spot for your yard when we were picking it. Because Michael Steinhardt gives you that beacon of yellow color out there. And it turns into a large tree, typically reaching 15 feet in 10 years. With that bright yellow color. It's a selection from Middle Tennessee, Zone 8, so it can actually handle that full sun really well. It's got that yellow color, which really contrasts well out there, especially against that grass. And then the fall colors can be some really nice shades of oranges and reds. And guys, Michael Steinhardt, phenomenal fall color.
I mean, I like this. Yeah, I have it in my garden in that spot. So yeah, it's a pretty good choice. I like what you did there, little brother. You know, it's like when your little brother wears the same shirt as you. Like that never happened either with my little brother, where he shows up in the exact same shirt, the exact same event with the exact same shoes. Totally picked the one in my garden on purpose. I love it though. It's a good choice. I think Michael Steinhardt definitely hits the durability factor, hits that growth rate factor tree too. So it's kind of got that street tree factor where it gets out there quick. You know, a lot of times this spot, you want something that's going to, you know, not get lost. You don't want something small. Like that filigree wouldn't be the choice for this. You don't want the tattoo out there. You want something that's going to make a presence. I know everybody's going to think I picked hot blonde for this, but I didn't. That was the obvious pick for me, so I went another route. I went with Germain's Gyration, which is one of my favorite lace leaves that gets big quick. Germain's Gyration for that big spot in the yard. I kind of got some room. I got that grass out there. I got room for a Germain's Gyration to just get me rich quick. You know, I'm going to make that big tree. I'm going to sell it off for $1 million because that's what everybody thinks you do. Then they're going to go lie to their neighbor and say, this tree's 78 years old. That's what everybody does. You ever does that? I've never been in somebody's yard and they're like, this tree's 58 years old. I'm like, cultivar wasn't around then. You don't know who you're talking to. But everybody always says, you know, this tree's 50 years old. And with Germain's Gyration, you get a tree that looks 50 to 100 years old pretty quick. It's 10 by 10 in 10 years. So you can lie to your neighbors and be like, yeah, this one's a heirloom tree from my grandparents. It was here when we bought the place. Now, some say it's 100 years old. Planted by Olmsted.
Germain's Gyration has that bigger leaf and it has a more contorted habit. Sometimes it's in the trade as contorta because of that twisted, contorted habit where it gets the name of gyration, Germain's Gyration. It gets out there quickly. It gives a unique structure out there with that twisted shape, whether it's in leaf or out of leaf. So that is definitely something that's a big bonus for that middle of the spot yard. And it's definitely going to fill out. And the one thing you want to do with their Germain's Gyration is give it space because you don't want to put this in a crowded area where there's a lot of other trees around that are going to have to get moved as that germane generation gets bigger. It's better to give that tree space, let it do its thing, and let it shine, because it really is one of those trees that just stands out in that presence. And it gives you everything you want in a weeping green lace leaf, with that sort of bonsai aesthetic with the twisted branch structure. But it does that very quickly. It's a winner. It's a great choice for middle of the yard.
One of the caveats was zone 8, and I've seen several of these in high heat South Carolina settings, Columbia and below. I've seen several of these even in Augusta in high heat settings, and they really perform well. They have a little bit larger leaf, great fall color. So it's a good choice for somewhere you want something that's going to get a little bigger. All right, next up, we've got the shade garden dark area in the landscape. Now, we recently did a full podcast on our favorite trees for shade. And immediately people go, what about this one? You forgot this one. I say, I know. I didn't cover every single plant. These are just some great choices. We missed this one. I got you. We did miss that one. But there are always some great ones for shade. They were not the only ones for shade. Today we're going to be giving our top choice for a shady spot in the garden. You know, maybe it's a little darker. Maybe you're trying to lighten it up a little bit. Maybe you're trying to bring some more pizzazz to that boring dark green spot in the garden because it's all shaded by a bunch of oaks or a bunch of big pine trees, and you're looking for something a little bit more zap to kind of lively that area up.
Yeah, I went with Naguri Nishiki, an Acer pictum that's going to have that big leaf, but it also is going to give you that white color. And in that shade dark area, you're going to get a bright white out there with little spots of green. It's mostly white. When you put that out there in that shade garden, it's going to brighten up that whole area. And if you put something in there dark, like a real dark Japanese maple, make it lost. It may not hold its color as well in the shade. But if you put something bright white out there, wham, wow, you're going to have some amazing white color in the garden.
I don't know what that was. All right, for my pick in the dark area garden, I went with a new one that isn't out there yet, but you can go watch our YouTube channel. It's on there. Lily L. It's an Acer palmatum Lily L. It's definitely going to need some shade. New one by Talon Buckholz. One of the crazier variegated plants I've seen in the last 15 years. Last forever because it's one of the craziest ones of all time. But it really, really has caught my interest a lot. I like it. Has some of what I like about Peve multicolor, but it's got more pink. It's got leaf morphology to it that's crazy, where it kind of has some different shaped leaves going on. It's got a lot of structural changes to the foliage. Just really like this plant. I think the colors are next level. I think it's definitely going to be a shade garden plant. So I imagine this kind of in that darker hosta garden. You got some different hostas going on. You got this Lily L just screaming at you out of nowhere. It's like a beacon of light from the heavens. Just, oh!
It's got that pink. It's got that white. It's got some green in there, like lime green. It's got that ShamWow. It's got that. I didn't say ShamWow. It's got that multicolored effect that is just awesome going on. Good upright selection. Again, not released yet. Coming soon. So you are hitting them with some stuff they can't even get yet.
That wham wow.
All right, guys. Next, we got the entranceway to your garden. People often say, the entrance, you got to make a statement. You got to get people's attention when you're walking into the garden. You got to make it seem like something that they want to go check out so they can walk down that path and see what else you got in there. Entranceway to your garden. What'd you choose, Matt?
Well, with Hot Blonde.
Oh,
that's actually the entranceway plant to my garden, to my driveway. I think it's a high interest plant. I think it's got, it's big, so it's kind of be a beacon to begin with. So I kind of think of an entranceway if I have room for something a little larger. Can handle full sun. It's going to go through those color progressions, give me like pink. Like it's summer right now. We're filming this, and mine's got a lot of pink new growth on it. So it's kind of glowing yellow and pink right now. It's one of my favorite fall color maples of all time. So the entranceway's got that fall color, that pink electric red fall color. It's also going to get out there at over a foot of growth a year, so it's going to look like I'm a baller, And then when I go check the mail, I can just tell my wife I was looking at the Hot Blonde out there.
Hey, Hot Blonde, that's a great entranceway to your garden. It's a vigorous tree. It's going to give you that yellow color, and it's going to draw people's eyes to your garden, even from a distance from the far, looking at the beginning.
That is name Hot Blonde for my wife.
Guys, I ended up going with Shishigashira. And the reason I went with Shishigashira is I thought texturally, it's got that crumpled leaf, so it's going to give you some interest right up close. Smaller leaf. I like to plant the smaller leafed items up close and then start playing with some of the larger leaves off in the distance to give some interest in the different leaf shapes out throughout the garden. But Shishigashira is heat tolerant, just like Hot Blonde. Not as heat tolerant, but it's pretty heat tolerant. And it's got a darker green color that's different than most other shades of green. So you're already starting to play a little bit off of some of the colors there with Shishigashira, but the tight, compact habit and rounded form gives almost like a regal presence. And they don't typically get very wide. And so you could definitely put 1 or 2 at your entranceway.
So you knew the Hot Blonde was better. You're trying to put more in there now. You knew I was winning that one. So you're like, you could put 4 or 5 Shishigashiras out there. We could put 100 of them out there.
All right, guys. Next, we got a slope of a bank. You got an embankment out there. You got a slope, or you got something where you're looking up into the tree. That's a great place to garden and a great place for Japanese maples. I mean, really, there's a spot for Japanese maples in every spot in the yard.
Banks are particularly special, though.
Yeah, banks are particularly special, and often they're under-gardened. Often people don't garden the banks. It's just mulch.
What do I do with this weird bank I got?
Or it's weeds. What do you do?
Well, they just filled in with the grass. They're kind of at a loss for, like, how do I really do something gardening on this slope?
Well, I mean, great things about slopes is they've got good drainage. And Japanese maples love good drainage. And the guy who wrote the book on Japanese maples, J.D. Vertrees, said plant a weeping Japanese maple on those embankments and allows you to look up and see the structures of the trees. So there's so many awesome choices for those embankments that you could choose with weeping selections. And so naturally, I chose Sekimori because it is one of our first weeping lace leaves we had here at MrMaple, but it has a really nice arching out shape. Where Waterfall has a really nice cascading shape, Sekimori can often be twice as wide as this tall. And so it has a really strong arching out effect. And it's got that green lace leaf vibes and some good yellow fall color. J.D. Vertrees said that Sekimori may be one of the best fall color yellows of any of the green lace leaves.
I believe you're cheating because I believe you also recommended it for a sloped position in the garden.
I believe he did. I'm going with J.D. Vertrees' slope embankment recommendation.
I chose this. I've also read that book, and I do love that one. So I think that's perfect because you kind of get that structural interest of being able to look up into that arching, and that's perfect with Sekimori. You can see up into it. I picked something close and easy to say that's going to be very confusing for both of us after saying Sekimori several times. I picked Seki no Kigon. Now, we actually have this one on a bankment here at the nursery. We recently planted a big one. It's a Boldianum, so it kind of has that bigger, more rounded leaf to it. Tim likes to call them the full moon maples as well. They kind of fit into that category with Shirasawa. Suboldianums can have that big round look to them. I like Seki no Kigon because it kind of just has a crazy shape, so it kind of fills out in all directions. It calipers up quickly, and I think it's got a lot of interest if you can stand under it and look up into it.
I mean, the one that we have planted at my parents' home at Maplewood Gardens, it's kind of on a bank. I mean, it's on a hill. And if you don't realize it when you're standing right beside it, but you step back and look at it, it's kind of on an embankment. The one we did our Cultivar highlight on in fall color at Dr. John and Jerry Criticos' gardens, it's on an embankment as well. And it just accentuates its shape. It's got that just crazy kind of wonky, almost contorted kind of shapes at times with just unique twist hooking habits. It's one of the first weeping selections in that with that full moon like leaf. I mean, it's beautiful. It's amazing. And the fall colors can give you all different shades of yellows, oranges, and reds. Definitely a winner and definitely a unique selection for your slope embankment.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of makes a big turtle shell. I kind of like what it does. It tends to dome out much like a lot of our lace leaves over time and kind of make that dome. I like how it kind of puts on a regular growth, though. So, I also could have seen putting Germain's gyration here, but I was kind of thinking similar in shape. And it kind of can have a little bit of what I like about Germain's gyration structurally, even when it's out of leaf. Like you kind of get those gyrating structures that come off irregularly. I think it gives a lot of interest and texture to it. I went with something different. I hadn't had a lot of Suboldianums on this list, so I thought that'd be a fun pick. For me, typically, we're getting more of a bold red at the one I have on the slope there. So some different colors going on in the fall. It can have a range of colors there, but really something different.
Yeah, I mean, we learned, if you ever get time, go watch our video on fall color, senescence. And you can learn that sometimes fall color can change based on if it's a shaded situation or if it's a sunlight situation. Often you get those reds and oranges more and more sunlight, where you might get some more yellows in a more shaded situation.
The one at Criticos was certainly more in a yellow-orange kind of setting. The one in a more full, the one we've got out here seems like it's almost getting more red at times. But it can range a ton. Like Ceboldianums are interested in that regard too. Kind of like Japonicums. They can express a little differently each year. But yeah, fun one for the fall color. Really brings it. And I just like the big leaves. I think it really adds to the kind of the texture on the bank, that mounding look to it.
So the next one is focal point planting. I know this sounds similar to the one out in the yard, but the other one is that special yard spot. I mean, everybody's seen that. Focal point planting, this can be anywhere where your garden is basically pointed at, where people see that as the main point in the yard. It could be in front of, a bench where it's just that focal point that people will be viewing your garden from. So keep that in mind with the focal point plantings. I originally had thought about Jermaine's gyration for this spot.
But you win.
You used that earlier.
That's good. I blocked that. Yeah, that was a good defense by me.
You used that earlier. I love Jermaine's. So instead of going with the green fast-growing lace leaf, I went with the red fast-growing lace leaf with English lace. English lace, it's the quickest growing and slightly more upright version of a red lace leaf. It gets out there quick. We've got a great cultivar highlight on that too, so you can sort of see how it goes upwards at first and then it arches out in a really nice dramatic effect. Bright red in the spring, can green up a little bit during the summer, but they can give you some really nice oranges and reds in the fall. For a red lace leaf, if you're looking for something that has those similar effects, like we mentioned with Jermaine's gyration, where it gets out there quickly, English lace is the closest thing that we've seen that in a red lace leaf.
That's a great choice. Jerry Child sent this one to us very early on. Nurseryman in the Pacific Northwest to help evaluate it. There were two different selections, and we got to actually help pick the one that made it to be the original English lace. Lovely plant, great grower, unique structure, and just an all-around amazing plant. Now, all that said, I'm about to defeat you like it's 1776 and our forefathers beat the English, because nothing says look at me more than Firefly. And I'm going Firefly for my focal point planting. There's not a more look at me plant for me. That one draws my eye in every time. It's my favorite variegated plant. Firefly for the win.
Firefly is a pretty good one. I love what Firefly does. It's one of my favorite reticulated Japanese maples. It's got a good upright habit, but it's always giving you something different out there in the landscape. You get almost some of the stuff that you love about something like Sumagaki or Sumabeni, but on a reticulated style. And it's one of the most dramatic and intense colors I've ever seen on the borders, on the edges of a reticulated style.
Sorry to all our British listeners. I still love you.
It's got a good red fall color as well. And it's constantly changing. I always tell people, go to the Mr. Maple Friends group on Facebook, type in Firefly in the search bar, and you will find everyone else showing their photos of Firefly throughout the season.
It just keeps changing.
It does. Every time of the season, it looks beautiful. It looks different, but it looks beautiful. And it's fun to sort of see how it changes throughout the season.
It's hard for me not to pick it on multiple categories. It's like we do these collector's corner, and it's like, don't say hot blonde, red panda, and Firefly. Like, you'd ask me to do my top 25 maples. Spoiler alert, hot blonde, red panda, and Firefly are going to be my top 25 maples. They're hard for me not to pick them for a lot of these categories, but I do love Firefly. It's so flashy. You've heard about this one. A friend of ours sent it to us under the wrong name. Had been selected, hadn't gotten to the trade, and basically said, well, if that name Moonfire is already used for another plant, then give it a name. And so we kind of got involved in the naming process of this tree. We evaluated against all the other reticulated trees, which are a lot. Tim and I have pretty much every reticulated Japanese maple ever known, plus 100 more you've never seen that we have never named or have looked at or evaluated. I mean, there's so many reticulated maples in evaluation here over the last 20 years. It's kind of crazy. Maybe a whole new Ghost series to come. But Firefly kind of stood out and did its own thing against all those. And so for me, it's a focal point planting. It's got narrow growth to it, so it doesn't get super wide. But it's one of those trees I tend to be drawn to the most in the landscape.
Yeah, I mean, it's extremely beautiful. And then so lastly, we just went to focal point planting. We got to at least talk about background planting, because often there's that tree off in the distance that, you plant and you've got this idea of planting it out there. But what should I put out there? Mm-hmm. So what'd you go with, Matt?
So I went with the Ukuma. Now, a lot of people would think about this one as a focal point planting, putting it up front. It is inconsistent on the all white variegation. So I kind of like putting this one in the background a little bit, kind of having it as part of the ensemble, kind of having it as part of the orchestra here. And then when it lights up, it really lights up the show. So when it's time to solo, you've got the solo. You might not be having oboe all the time, but when the oboe hits, you're like, that was some good oboe right there. And that's what I want out of my Ukuma. I want it to be there in the landscape. When it does its thing in the fall, when it's orange, great fall color. Doesn't always have to be my focal point playing. Doesn't have to be my star of my show. It doesn't have to be, it's not the lead guitar.
Yeah, I mean, the Floating Clouds maple, when it's white, it steals the show. So it makes sense to put it in the background because it's not always white. But when it's on the fall color, I mean, that's consistent every single year.
So it gives you something great. I mean, I love the plant, but it also kind of gives me a spot for it that it isn't, when it does its thing, it's like, wow, it's stealing the show.
I mean, I was thinking something similar with background planting and fall color. I was thinking Acer japonicum Indian Summer. It's got those really nice large leaves, Acer japonicum leaves, but in the fall, you get yellows, oranges, and reds all at the same time across the tree in a unique fashion that I've never seen on any other tree. I mean, it is unique how the fall color hits Indian Summer, and it's really spectacular. It's an upright tree, typically going to be in that 10 foot in 10 years kind of size frame. But again, it's got those large leaves, so it gives you that depth to your garden by putting something with large leaves out there in the background rather than putting that back, up close, which, may give you a smaller garden feel.
Dynamic fall colors, reds, yellows, and oranges all at the same time is what this one was selected for. Big Acer japonicum leaves, real interesting plant. I think it really adds a dynamic interest to the garden. Those bigger foliage really kind of gives it a lot of space too. So when it's in leaf, it's going to use a lot of that background space up. So it gives you a big palette to put things in front of as well to kind of bring those colors out because, it's going to kind of fill up a lot of space with that bigger foliage and that big leaf.
And I think having fall color plantings in the background where you may have something that's green like Indian Summer, and then whenever it goes to fall color, it's so intense and so beautiful. It draws your eye out across the landscape because it quickly becomes something that's very much grabs your attention in that fall time frame. So it just tries to help you with making your garden feel large. And if that's your goal, I think Indian Summer is a great background planting.
Great choice, man. Hey, I'm actually going to call this episode a draw. This might be your first draw. When we were growing up, I'm 6 years older than Tim. I never let him win a basketball game. So when he finally won one, it really meant something. So I'm actually calling this your first draw right here.
Oh, lovely.
I've scored us to a standstill.
Let us know what you think about Matt's horrible score system in the comments below if you're watching us on YouTube.
I invented the scoring system here. It's like I'm like the comic metric. Like I invented the grading system here. So you can't argue with my system. I am the system.
But y'all, thank y'all so much for joining in. We put a video component out if you're wanting to see photos of these trees on our YouTube channel, the MrMaple Show. So you can find that coming on. Typically, we air these podcasts on Saturday, and on Sunday at 8 p.m., we have the video component airing on our YouTube channel. So make sure you're subscribed there as well.
Hey, if you have other answers for these, and I'm sure plenty of y'all do, go let us know in the comment section below. We'd love to see what you think for the shade garden. We'd love to see what you think for the container garden. We'd love to have your suggestion for under the window. So go in the comment section below on YouTube. Let us know. If you're listening to the audio only, definitely go do that in our Mr. Maple Friends Facebook group. We'd love to see, how you would fill out this collector's corner. Part of the fun in the collector's corner is interacting with the collectors. Like Tim and I joke about it, but we love seeing what you guys would put out here as well. I think it's really interesting. We've got a great community of people, whether it be on YouTube or on our Facebook page. So definitely get involved there. Kind of let us know what you'd pick. I mean, it's like top fives. I like getting people's perspective, learning what they would pick. I think you kind of learn something different every time you discuss these trees with people. And we're just opening up the conversation here. So make sure to get involved with it.
Y'all take care.
God bless.
And have a great day.